Let's talk about life, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the truth and consciousness, divinity. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about love. Okay, well, welcome to Spiritual Nerd. I'm your host, Ninette Terhart, and today we are geeking out with Robert Clancy. Thank you, Robert, for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's so great to meet everyone and to meet you as well.
Well, thank you. I'd like to just say a few things about you to introduce you to some people. I'd love to share that Robert Clancy is a creative visionary, a #1 international best-selling author, spiritual teacher, and co-founder of Spiral Design Studio. Together with international best-selling author Lisa Winston, Robert co-hosts and produces the Mindset Reset Show. I love that title, which is an internationally syndicated television show airing on DirecTV, Comcast, Viacom, Women on TV, She TV, Roku. Am I saying that right? Roku?
That is correct, okay. Yeah.
Amazon Fire TV, along with other networks in over 160 countries. Wow, you've been busy. And Robert's latest 2 books are Soul Ciphers, Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness, and Love's Awakenings, Healing with the Human Spirit, A Poetic Journey. Wow, Robert, well, thank you so much. And I would love to hear some highlights of your journey that brought you to this awakening.
Well, yeah, that's actually in the Soul Ciphers book. So a little bit of my backstory, because I definitely fit the nerd scenario here, because I actually got 100 in a logic exam and a final in college. So I'm that logical, and I have a very strong science side. What happened back around between 19 and 20, right in those years there, I lost several friends to suicide and then car accidents. I was like a straight A student up till then, and I almost got kicked out of college. Everything just fell apart, and there were just all my close friends were away, you know, and I just had really no support group. The last thing holding me together was my relationship with my girlfriend, and then that fell apart, and I stopped caring about everything, including myself. And I started mixing like prescription drugs and alcohol, and I just didn't want to feel anything. And I was probably, somebody who described me would be like diarrhea wimpy kid meets alcohol, because I was just like, I went nuts. Just, you know, but what happened was I was really destroying myself, and I was pretty close to not being here anymore. And I was pretty much at the end of my rope when somebody in the restaurant I worked in handed me this brochure on how to meditate, and she said, "Come here, I need to talk to you, and you need to stop what you're doing or you're going to end up killing yourself." And she gave me that 50-yard stare that only your mom can give you. And I took the brochure, and being analytical the way that I read all the instructions, and I did go home that night. And I challenged God before I started my meditation. I said, if you exist, heal me, and I need to see something. If I don't see something, I'm done. So have at it. And it appeared. So it's about 3 hours in the meditation. And long story short is, and I kept this a secret for 30 years, even from my own family and from my dad. I told him in 2012, an angel manifested in front of me. And I know what I saw. I was with it for about an hour. And there were no words, just pictures and thoughts were exchanged. But I saw everything, and she touched me in the forehead, and that's where I've written 67,000 inspirational words that I post on my Facebook page to date. Still coming.
They're still coming.
I think I'm plugged in. Like even last night, when I woke up this morning, what I see when my eyes are closed through my mind's eye, it looks like an X-ray of the other side. And I saw everything again last night. It's almost every night. I think I'm in that state 24/7 though. Yeah. Like plugged into heaven. The angel touched me with their index finger here, and I just was like,
yeah, and never the same again.
No. And so I talked to myself in the mirror after this. I said, you're going to have to live with knowing.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to carry that. And that's a double-edged sword.
And how did that unfold, the knowing in this plane, but knowing that?
Yeah, well, obviously, I changed my life immediately, and I've been smiling ever since. I went to sleep with a smile on that night, and I realized that, I felt not worthy of the gift. What I was given from the angel was a gift, and she took away fear, doubt, and worry, as well as faith, because faith is a belief in something that you have no physical proof of.
Right.
And I was shown. So for 30 years, I questioned, why me? Why of all the people? Why was I chosen for that? And in 2012, on December 1st, it's almost like the second awakening happened. And the first words I got were, why ask why when you should ask why not? And that's really for everyone.
Yeah.
Why not you?
Right. And then you wrote these books.
Yeah, and I hated English class too.
Wow. You wrote these books after your second awakening, that you call it?
The two latest books, yes. That was post December 1st, 2012. The other two were, the first one was before that. I started in 2008 writing it, and took 4 years, took my time putting it together. And then the second one came out sort of in between those, the awakening and then shortly after.
So, Robert, what would you say is your purpose here now on this plane?
It is to help people tell their message, to share what they have in their heart. And I've thought about this a long time. I mean, people have these really nice packaged, I work with post-traumatic stress veterans to do X to make their life better. Mine is to get everybody to understand what those three words are: faith, love, and hope, and how deep they go. And there's no synonyms for them. They just are. They only exist if you believe in them.
Right. So really, it's interesting because belief works kind of both ways. If you want to believe faith, love, hope, and joy, or you want to believe in the conditioning, it kind of does both ways,
Yeah.
Very, very.
It's the balance.
Yes, yeah. It's the balance. And would you say, Robert, that since the, say, the second awakening, so 2012, would you say there was more now of a balance now that you sort of had some of these answers? Yes.
It's almost like I'm framing in a puzzle, and you just keep seeing pieces of it filling in, and it starts making more and more sense. And I was just like, wow, now I understand the picture more clearly. And mine is to help other people understand their picture, and that everyone's worthy, that you all have a message, that you have something to share with the world. There's a career and a calling. And I keep running into more people that say, I've been doing this all my life. Now I feel called to do X. And that's sort of what's happening.
And okay, so I have a question for you. Someone that, maybe didn't get the touch on the forehead by the angel. What are some of these sort of things they can implement so that they can go to bed and smile and get in touch with their calling?
Well, that's the first one. Go to bed with a smile. Having that gratitude moment. And I realized how powerful the smile is, because the angel actually smiled at me, and I made her smile through thinking something ridiculous and wondering if she could read minds. And that's when she did smile. And I realized that that's a tool that we carry with us every day. And you need to start by sharing that smile with yourself. And I smile when I'm alone because I realize I never am. And that's where it starts. And you bring that forward, and that's that gratitude. And I always go to sleep with saying a prayer almost every single night since then. I mean, I just have, and it's like almost like covering yourself when you're going into that sleep state. Yeah. It's not that you're vulnerable, but you're open more, I think, at that point. And so I want to be in that state. And, there's just so many beautiful moments that can happen with that.
Now, do you have a family, like children?
Yes. And I have a biological son, and I have 3 foreign exchange students that are sort of adopted family. And there's a girl in Germany, And she's sort of like my soul daughter. And there's a boy in Italy and a boy in Norway.
Wow. And do you, impart this sort of, spiritual stuff onto them? And
Yeah, my son, I wanted him to have his own journey, even though, I know what happened to me. Everyone has to have their own, sort of awakening in that. And I can't force it on him. He does believe now, he's told me recently, but early on, he said, I question, I don't know if there really is anything. And I said, well, that's your journey, but I can tell you from my standpoint, there is. And I have to live with that. And I know that there is. So you'll have to discover that on your own. And, the girl from Germany never really knew her father. And she messages us, my wife and I, on Mother's Day in the U.S., like at 6 p.m. our time the day before, because it's already Mother's Day or Father's Day or my birthday or her birthday, to the second. Like that's how, connected it is.
wow. So I'd love to explore a little bit your feelings on the ego.
I have a few quotes that came in for that. One of them is, just because your name's in lights doesn't mean you're any more enlightened than the bulbs. And if you keep company with your ego, you will only have one true friend. I had a trip with the ego early on in my early 20s, and this is after the angel experience. There was this guy in a volunteer group, and we just did not get along. And I thought, this guy has a big ego. And I was in a higher position than him, and his whole board fell apart, and I wasn't helping them. And, we were doing community service, and here I am not helping, this guy because he just rubbed me the wrong way. Because I thought he had a big ego, because he thought, it's all about awards and everything. It turned out that a couple of days after I had my words with him, he was diagnosed with cancer, brain cancer. And they removed his eye that week. And we had a new awakening and journey together.
Yeah.
So he's my ego check from the other side. But the last words I said to him, and the tumors on his head had gotten so big that his head was physically large. So I always thought he had a big head, and God showed me, now you want to see it? Here it is.
Right.
And the day before he went home from the hospital, when they couldn't do anything, all of the people that knew him said these amazing things about him. And I wrote them all down. They're things that you say after somebody dies. And I read them to him the last night he was in the hospital.
Wonderful. Yeah. What is your view on death, Robert?
Well, science side says all the elements in the universe were here, always were here, and always will be here, and we're made from those.
Yes.
So that's enough said on the physical. And the other side, seeing the angel and those things, I would say there is no beginning or end, just like love. It's there, and it's just a giant sphere. It's endless, and it's what you do with the time that you have. And I saw a great quote by Muhammad Ali. There was a documentary on him, and he said, volunteer work, or I'm paraphrasing, but basically giving and volunteering is your rent that you pay for your room in heaven while you're here. It's what you do while you're here.
Yeah.
He was talking about life and death, and just that I'm here and I'm doing these great things, and I've been given this blessed life to do this, but there's more to it. It's beyond that.
Now, do you offer personal sessions with people?
I haven't done a whole, I've met with people. I've, had coffee and things unfold when they ask me. I also do like online programs and different things like that. But mine is to tell my story through a bigger platform. It's like having a movie or something like that to really share. Mine is one to many, and I really want to reach as many people. But if I have to reach one person, I've done my job. If I reach 1 million, I've done my job. Right. It's either way.
Now, but you really have been reaching, networks that over 160 countries. So you're really getting out there. And do you find that, from what I'm hearing, I'm going to say no, but I just want to ask because maybe some people are curious, but do you find ego comes into play at times when you're experiencing this higher platform of expression?
No, it's really not. You have to let go of that. And yeah, we're all human. We're not humans with souls, but we're rather souls surrounded in our humanity. And some people would say, "Wow, you have like something in the works. I have like a movie, a script based on what happened to me." And they're like, "That's amazing! Wow, that's great." And I'm like, I'm thinking, not so much, because this is like you strip all the layers off. Like I'm totally vulnerable, exposed. That's letting go of ego.
Yeah.
Just tell your story and to embrace that you need to have this journey and really, if I reflect on it, it's about letting go of that, and it's about the story, and it's really not about me. It's about the people watching.
Yeah. Wow, Robert, I'd love to hear you share a little bit about what you feel our existence here is like. What do you feel the platform is for?
You mean to not do it, or to resist against coming into it?
Well, just, a lot of people are on this earth. They really think they're human and they really think they have to struggle,
Right. It's always, for me, it's been about one thing: learning exactly what love is. And in order to experience it, you have to understand that there's two parts. And the struggle, yes, is part of it, but you also need to understand, the peaks. And there's a beautiful download that I got that it perfectly illustrates this, because if you've ever climbed a mountain, you can't stay on the summit very long. Like Mount Everest, you'll die if you spend more than a minute or two up there before you start moving down. So you can only spend a moment at the peak, and you should only spend those moments in the valleys. The rest of it is what you do in between.
Right.
And that's really the journey of why you're here. So all the journeys of life, you'll encounter valleys of despair and mountains of hope. Just know that the heavens are above the valleys and the mountaintops touch them. To reach the summit, you take one hope-filled step past your fear, doubt, and worry.
Yeah.
You got to be careful not to spend too much time in either one of those places.
So that's a
journey.
And fear, that's a big one. I mean, a lot of people are really glued and thick in it. And anything that you would share that might help sort of alleviate that thickness?
Yeah, I'm a martial artist, so I sort of have no fear in the physical sense either. I'm my own bodyguard. I'm going to be testing my 6th-degree black belt very soon, so I have traveled that journey as well. But the fear is what holds you back from doing what you're supposed to do and who you truly are. And when you can release that and show people who you really are, you become everything that you were ever meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very, very true. And I really did like your, it's taking those small everyday or every minute steps, like the gratitude prior to sleeping, the gratitude when you wake up before you put your feet on the floor.
Right.
It's establishing those sort of practices. And absolutely. Robert, I mean, do you have a bad day?
Yeah, I mean, we all do. It's I'm human. I'm not infallible. I've made mistakes. The key thing is I've tried to learn from them. It's when you make the same mistake twice that you're having a problem.
Right.
Or you don't learn from it and don't recognize that I just did that again and I need to make this change.
Right.
You always have that opportunity to do that.
So it's really taking the responsibility. I mean, a lot of people, we like to blame, we like to point the finger, and eventually that's just a spiral down.
Right.
Into really your own sort of hell.
Yeah, and I wrote words the other day, and the picture I saw were two hands reaching for each other. It's just as important to reach out and help someone as it is to reach your hand out and ask for help when you need it.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
That's a tough one for a lot of people, to reach out. Yeah. So I'm going to put your Facebook, because that's a wonderful platform for people to go and see your posts. Yeah. And I would love if you would send me that. Do you have like an @ something for
Yeah,
Facebook?
it's Guide to the Soul. So if you go to facebook.com/guide to the soul,
Perfect.
that's the Facebook page.
And then tell me, what is the Spiral Design Studio?
Yeah, that's my wife and I founded a marketing firm 30 years ago, and we do all sorts of things from branding, web development. We launched Guitar Hero 3 when it came out. We did all the online, the website, the community website, the design for that. We work with major Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies to tech companies and nonprofits and all sorts of associations and different things, but we specialize in creative, and it's just such a beautiful thing because you take from here and bring it.
Yeah.
We have such an amazing creative staff, and I love working in that environment.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. Well, that sounds very fun and successful. You kind of can't beat that combo. So, Robert, if you could leave, with one sort of important phrase or something that could really help someone in the midst of feeling lost, what would that be?
The one, as you were just speaking, I just saw it. It was hope, and I saw the hand. It's hope will never leave your side unless you choose to let go of it. So don't let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always there.
It's always there. And I guess when you experience that angel communication, I mean, I'm sure you can still feel that viscerally in your body, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty.
And angels can be everything. It's people that come to you, people that are in your life, people that are there just the right time. It doesn't have to be a metaphysical, like what I saw, but there are everyday angels, and they're even more profound than the real deal, as far as I'm concerned, because it's when you can help someone, it's the greatest gift that you can give.
Yeah, truly is. Well, Robert, I want to thank you for your time. And are your books on Audible by chance?
No, they're not on Audible yet. I'm going to probably do an audio version of it at some point. It's getting there, but they're on Kindle and paperback. Okay,
because I'm an Audible girl and I love listening because I drive,
I would have to do it in my voice, so I would.
Oh, that's perfect. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Robert, for your time. I really appreciate it. Of course, I wish you all the best. And I'll put all your info up there, and best to you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank Robert Clancy so much for joining me today on Spiritual Nerd, and I look forward to the next time when we be geeking out with you.
Let's talk about life, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the truth and consciousness, divinity. Let's talk about